ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णा चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 14, verse number 15. Sri Krishna is explaining bhakti. So he explained in the previous slokas that although there are various paths, but original path is only bhakti yoga. But different people, they interpreted the meaning of the Veda in different ways. Some people took it for karma, some for dharma, yoga, dan, charity, etc. So he says this is because of their own nature, which is under the influence of my Maya, Maya Mohita Dhiya. But the outcome of all these things is ultimately dukha udarka, only suffering. But one who takes to bhakti, he becomes peaceful, satisfied and santushta manasa. And he does not have any desire for anything material in this life, next life. So now in this verse he says that such a devotee is most dear to me. He says, Na tatha me priyatama atmayo nirna shankaraha na cha sankarshano na shri naivatma cha yatha bhavan. So he says that nobody is as dear to me as you. You are most dear, priyatama. Not even Brahma, who is called Swayambhu or Atmayoni, nor Shiva, nor Balaram, nor Lakshmi, and not even my own body, Atma, as my devotee. So instead of saying as my devotee, he says Yatha Bhavan, as you, because otherwise the devotee is standing right in front of him. So meaning is that what is important for him is devotion. And when he says that Brahma, Shiva, they are not dear to me, it is not that they are not dear, but seeing them only from their respective position or relationship without devotion, then they are not dear as the devotee is dear. Because Balaram is brother, Brahma is son, Lakshmi is wife. So seeing from that relational point of view, devotee is more dear, and because they are also devotees, so they are also dear to him. So Sri Vishnu Chakravarti comments, Sacha bhaktastava kidrika priya iti yatah na tatha. So if this question is asked that how do you like your devotee, how is he dear to you, then he describes in this sloka. Because in the previous verse he says that my devotee does not desire anything except me. So he also reciprocates in the same way as he said in the previous verse, Yatha mam prapadyante tam tatha bhajamya. So Atmayonir Brahma putro api. So Atmayoni is Brahma, who is son. Shankaro mat sarup bhuto api. Shankara, who is my own swarupa, manifestation. Sankarshano bhrata api. And even Balaram, who is my brother. Shrir bharya api. Shri or Rukmani, who is my wife. Atma murtir api. Atma, my own body also. Yatha bhakta iti vaktavye ati harshenaha bhavaniti. So he says that all these people are not as dear to me as my devotee. He should have said that, but because of excessive joy in his heart, he said, as you are, Yatha Bhavan. Iti Sri Swami Charana. This is the comment of Sridhar Swami. He refers to that. Atra Brahmadinam bhaktatvepi tesu bhaktatva anshadapi putratvadi amsa adhika vartante atah pradhanyena vyapdesha bhavanti iti nyayena te putraditvenaiva vyapdishyante na tu bhaktatvena. So he says that here these people like Brahma etc., they are also devotees. It's not that Brahma is not devotee or Shiva is not devotee, but they have two parts in them. They are devotees and they also have a relationship. And this part of being a relative is more prominent than part of being devotee. And because of that they are referred to by that relationship. as the rule is adhikyena vipdesha bhavanti, that a person or a group is named what is more prominent in that. So therefore they are called as putra, brother, son, wife, etc. Not as devotee. But he says Nanda Yashodadishu tu Mahapremvatvat Pitrvadi Ansebhyo api Bhaktatva Lakshano Amso Adhiktara Ityuteshu Bhaktatvam Evati. He says, but in case of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, although they are also parents, but the part of being devotee is prominent or superior than being just parents. So therefore he says that they are called devotees. Krishnasya ati priyatama eva. So therefore they are most dear to him. Yaduktam दर्शयंस तद्विदाम लोके आत्मनो भक्तवश्यतामिति तेषां भक्त शब्द वाच्यत्वं स्वातिवशीकारत्वं च. So as it is said that darshayans tadvidam loke atmano bhaktivashyatam. So he showed, this is the Dambandhan Lila, that he showed how he is under the control of his devotees. So Yashoda is mentioned there as devotee and not just mother. Not say that how he is controlled by the mother, but bhaktavashyatam. So tesham bhakta shabda vachyatvam. So they are referred by the word bhakta, the devotee, and swati vashikaratvam, and he is also very much under their control because of that. Therefore, Sukdev himself said, Nemam viranchya na bhavo na shrirapya anga samsraya prasadam lebire gopi yat tat prape vimuktidat. So he says that this type of grace which Gopi attained, that is Mother Yashoda, Brahma, Shiva, Lakshmi, who is on his body, they did not get this type of which she attained from Krishna, who is giver of liberation. So there her superiority over them is being shown, just as superiority of Uddhava is being shown. So sarvotkarshascha, and they are most superior. Yadva alternatively etadrish bhakteshu api madhye bhavan yatha me priyatamas tatha manmukhadeva shrinu ityaha na tatha iti. So alternatively he gives another explanation that among such type of devotees which he has described in the previous two slokas, you are the best, and you can hear this from my own mouth. Tena sarva bhakteshu madhye uddhava sreshtha tasmadapi gopya sreshtha tena api tasam charana dhulir prarthana iti Vaishnava Siddhanta. So although he is saying here that Uddhava is superior to Brahma, Shiva, Sankarsana, Lakshmi, but superior to Uddhava are the gopis. Why is that? Because Uddhava himself prayed for the dust from the feet of the gopis. Jasamaham charan renu jasamaham syam. So that shows that they are superior. He says this is the Vaishnava Siddhanta. This is what is also described in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. That's what we were reading, the last chapter. That Uddhava was shown that he came to Vraja. Badhyamanopi Nirpeksham munim shantam nirvairam samadarsanam anuvrajamyaham nityam puyayetyangri renubhi. So he says that these devotees are so dear to me that I will always follow behind them so that their dust will fall on my head and I will get purified. And these devotees are Nirpeksham Munim Shantam Nirvairam Samadarshanam. That they are Nirpeksha, they do not desire anything, or they don't take shelter of anyone else, they are Ananya Bhaktas. They are Muni, they are thoughtful, they are peaceful, they are not having any hatred or jealousy for anybody. And Samdarshanam, they have equal vision. So such devotees are very dear to me and I walk behind them. So this is the principle which he says that he reciprocates to his devotees as they surrender to him. So if the devotees are Nirpeksha, then he is also Nirpeksha and he also wants to be with them. So this is showing the greatness of bhakti, that how the other paths they cannot attain even moksha, and in the path of bhakti the giver of moksha is walking behind them, what to speak of moksha. So kim bahuna bhakto yatha sada mam anucharti tatha ahamapi bhaktah paroksha san bhaktam anucharami. So he says, what more can be said in this regard? He said, just as my devotee always follows me, serves me, so I also do that. I become the devotee of my devotee, but I remain hidden, parokshasan. Devotee comes out openly as a devotee, says I am a devotee. I don't come out openly, I remain hidden. So only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes as devotee. But Krishna, he says, Bhaktaha parokshaha san, bhaktam anucharami. So I also follow my bhakta, my devotee. Bhagavan bhakta bhaktiman. Therefore it is said that Bhagavan has bhakti for his bhakta. So he is Bhagavan and he is also bhakta. So when we think of Bhagavan, we always get this idea that he is just taking the seva from the devotees. He is sitting on a big seat and devotees are serving him. But he says that Bhagavan is also bhakta of his bhakta. And as much as devotees do service to him, he also does service to them. So that is the principle which is being described here. So Madhya Shukokter Ityaha. So this is statement of Shukdev. Nirpekshamiti Munim Madrup Gun Lila Parikaradi Manan Param. The word Muni means a thoughtful person, mananatiti, one who deliberates, one who thinks. So he says he is called Muni because he is meditating on my form, my own qualities, my pastimes, on my associates. Puyaya madantar varti brahmandani pavitri kuryamiti bhavanayati artha. So what does it mean that I walk behind them to purify myself? Bhagavan is supremely pure. What is there? He is Patit Pavan himself. He purifies everybody. Ganga, which emanates from his feet, purifies the three worlds. So what does it mean that he purifies himself. He says that there are many Brahmandas inside him, so they get purified when he walks behind the devotees. This is Iti Swami Charana, this is the comment of Sridhar Swami. Mad tad bhakti aniskritadi doshan pavitrita syam iti bhavena iti artha iti sandarbha. Jiva Goswami gives a different explanation. Sri Vishwanath is referring to that. He says that Krishna, he cannot repay back his devotees, so therefore he is indebted to the devotees. To get rid of this debt, he walks behind devotees. But he says, Na pariyaham nirvadya sanyujam. So, I cannot fathom the service which gopis have done. So he says, Tad bhakti aniskrit doshat. So he is unable to repay. Therefore he feels that he is indebted. For that reason he walks. Vastutastu bhakti charan dhuli grahanam vina bhaktir na syat. Bhaktya vina man madhurya ras anubhavo na syat. Iti maya eva maryada sthapita. Ato aham api bhakta eva bhaktya purna man madhurya ras nimagno bhavayam iti bhava. So he gave two explanations, or referred to the explanation given by Sridhar Swami, Jiva Goswami, then he gives his own explanation. He says, in reality, the principle which I have set up myself is that you cannot taste the sweetness of Krishna without becoming devotee. So unless one is a devotee of Krishna, then he cannot taste his sweetness. His sweetness is tasted only through bhakti. So he says, this is the principle which I have set up. So even if I have to taste my sweetness, then I also have to follow that principle. It's not that I make the principle for others and doesn't apply to me. So therefore I have to also become a devotee. And only when I become devotee, then through devotion, I become absorbed in my complete sweetness. Purnaman madhurya rasnivagno bhavayam. For that reason he walks behind devotees. So this is the greatness of devotion, that how he loves his devotees. So as he says in Gita also, Priya hi jnani unotyartham aham sachamam priya. So there is a mutual love. It is not one-sided, that only devotees love him and he is indifferent to them.
Babaji, in the previous verse, when he says, Na tatha me priyatama atmayonir na shankara na cha sankarshano na shrir na va atma cha yatha bhavan. So in the explanation of this, as Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining, is the tatparya of Krishna and the commentary in this that one should be that the topmost devotion is that which is free from Aishwarya or Raganuga Bhakti, because the way he is explaining is Brahmaji is also in a relation and Sankarshan is also in a relation. They also have a relation with Krishna. But since that has ansh of Aishwarya in it, and he's also giving the example of Yashoda and Nand Maharaj, so he is pointing that there he is Bhakta Vashikaratva. So there he becomes under the control of the Bhakta. So is the Tatparya pointing towards I mean, intimacy, as we studied in the Sanatan Goswami's Granth, which we were earlier, Brihad Bhāgavatam, that one should be following, one should be free from Aishwarya Bhava as far as possible.
Yeah, he himself said that it is devotion which controls him, not anything else. Point he is making is it is bhakti which is vasikara, which has the power to subdue him, control him, attract his heart. And that bhakti becomes manifest supremely only when we are not thinking of Aishwarya. Because when Aishwarya is there, then this sense comes that this person is useful for me. Why people want to have friendship with people who are in good post or who are powerful? Because they can benefit, even if not at that time, but they think that they can be useful when they have problem, trouble. So that's the feature which comes in Aishwarya. If you know he is Bhagwan, so two things comes. Bhagwan will protect me, help me, and he doesn't need anything from me. It is I who need something from him. That's what Aishwarya indicates. But when Aishwarya is not the feature, it is Madhurya, then that part is not there, then it's pure love.
So this is what he is pointing to when he says Yatha
Yeah,
Bhavan.
he is pointing to bhakti only, but I am saying that bhakti manifests supremely when it is without the feeling of Aishwarya. That is the nature of bhakti. It is natural. I am explaining why it manifests superior, in superior form, in the Madhurya aspect and not in Aishwarya. Niskinchana mayi anurakta chetasaha shanta mahanto khil jiva vatsalaha kamairalalabdha dhiyo jushanti yattan nairpeksham na vidu sukham mama. So he is again now explaining about the devotees and how they are happy. So niskinchana mayi anurakta chetasa. So these devotees are niskinchana, as he earlier said, akinchanasya dantasya santasya samchetasa. So devotees are niskinchana or akinchana, means their attachment is not to anything else. Therefore he says mayi anurakta chetasa. So they are mayi anurakta chetasa because their mind is devoted to me. It's attached to me. And if it is attached to me, then they are not having attachment to things which are other than me. So that's why they are niskinchana. And thus they are shanta, because it is the material desires which cause disturbance to the mind. So they have no other desires, they are anyabhilashita sunyam. Therefore they are peaceful. And mahanta, so they are great. Akhila jiva vatsala, they have affection, liking for all the jivas. They don't engage in any violence to anybody. And kamair analabdha dhiyo, and they are not implicated in material sense objects. Kama means sense objects. So analabdha dhiya, their intelligence is not running towards them. And therefore, mama narpeksham sukham jushanti. So they relish happiness which is coming from me, and they do not desire anything. They are nirpeksha, not dependent on anything else. So this is how devotees are. That is the mindset of devotees. Yato madrup gunadi madhurya anubhav sukham mad bhaktya eva labhyam nanyat chaityaha. So he says that this happiness which is experienced from my rupa, my form, qualities, guna, this can be attained only through my bhakti. Means if one is following karma marg, gyan marg, then one does not get this pleasure which comes from antaranga shakti or bhakti of Bhagavan. They can experience some other happiness, some pleasure which is primarily mixed with material gunas, or attain moksha, means freedom from suffering. The word moksha or mukti means you are just getting detached from something. It's not that you are getting some happiness. So that is also considered as big achievement if you don't suffer. But this happiness which comes from devotion means love. This exchange of love, this is what brings complete fulfillment to the heart. This was the basic question which was asked in the very beginning of Bhāgavatam. Bruhina shraddhadhananam yena atma samprasidati. What satisfies the mind or the self completely? So that satisfaction comes only from bhakti. So savai punsam paro dharma yato bhakti radhoksaje ahitki apratihata yatma suprasidati. So that's what is being described here. So we cannot be satisfied by anything else. This is what is to be understood from all this talk again and again and again. And because we have so much samskara of material sense pleasure that it is very difficult to get this idea that actually happiness will come only from bhakti. Although we know that in the material world also we are looking for relations. Everybody is looking for relation. And relation means loving relationship. So that is what bhakti is. So it will come only from this. And more one becomes situated in, more happy one is, more one becomes free from everything else, including that Aishwarya knowledge. So more happiness. So this is what is to be understood. This is the proper use of intelligence. All other use of intelligence is waste of intelligence. So this says that this anubhav, this madhurya anubhav sukha. So try to understand the experience of Krishna's sweetness. We have some sweetness. Everybody is looking for sweetness in this material world. In everything, some rasa. But the real rasa is from him, he is the Rasaraj. So that comes only from bhakti, because he is known only through bhakti, not anything. Otherwise he remains covered. So that's why devotees are niskinchana. So he says, niskinchana jnanino api bhavanti iti kechidahu tad vyavrittyarthamaya mayan rakchet. He says, but sometimes people say that jnanis are also niskinchana, they also do vairagya, give up everything. So are you talking about them? He says, no, these are the niskinchana who are mayi anurakta chetasa. Their mind is complete, is fixed, attached to me. They are akhila jiva vatsala akhilebhyo api jivebhyo bhakti ras ditsavanta. So they are very affectionate, kind, compassionate to all living beings. So the compassion here is that they want to give this bhakti rasa to them also, what they experience themselves. Ateva Mahanta. So therefore they are called Mahanta. These are the people who are considered as great. Tatsangya eva lokair uchyamana. People call them by this name as Mahanta. Kamair Devadapi. Devad Devadapati Tairapi Bhogai. Apatitai Bhogaina. So he says Kamai means Devad. Devad. So Kama here is the sense objects which they attain by Daiva, by their good karma, past karma. So they are not, because they are already called Niskinchana, they are already called Maya Anurakta Chetasa. So means they are not desiring them. But Daivad apatitairapi bhogai na alabdha channa dhiriye shamte. So if they get some good situation here in the material world, we get some materials, opulence. So he says that does not distract their intelligence. Their intelligence does not become steeped in them. They do not feel anything great about it. It is coming, let it come. It doesn't disturb them. Why is that? Because they are tasting happiness from me. Yanmam sukham jashanti asvadayanti tat sukham te eva vidur nanni. So the happiness, the bliss which comes from me, this is known only to them, not by anyone else. So others have no idea about it. They cannot even guess it. So nanye kuta nirpeksham nasti apeksham mokshadikam api yashamte nirpekshas eva jatam. So these devotees are nirpeksha, means they do not have any apeksha, desire for anything else, including moksha also. Because moksha is also not great in comparison to the sweetness of Krishna. Because you are just alone by yourself. If you want some good situation, generally the tendency of human mind is that I don't have to do anything. Everything is done by others. But suppose this happens, and after some time you will be bored. Now imagine that you are not given anything to do, and you say, no, you cannot do anything. Whatever you want, we'll give you. After some time, you will be so sick of it. Says, come on, I also want to do something. So this is what moksha is. Try to imagine moksha. What is the great thing about it? You cannot do anything. So what is the fun in that? That's why devotees say that better remain here in the material but no moksha. At least here you can hear Krishna Katha. So in moksha there is nothing, there is no talking, there is nobody there. There is no two. You cannot say that I am and Brahman is there, that is also not there. You think you are Brahman. You are not even thinking, there is nothing to think. Because to think also, you can think only when there are two. If you are the only one, what are you going to think? There is nothing to think. Brahma eva sarvavidam. Everything is just Brahman. So how long will you be happy with that? So this is, I don't know if it is grace or punishment. Looks like punishment. So te nirpeksha te sueva jatam. So he says that only these people are nirpeksha, no one else. Because others who do not know bhakti, they have some ideas to get this, get that. Purushottam Prabhu.
You just mentioned about this moksha. If you are in Brahman realization, then do you still have your ahankar, spiritual ahankar? Or that is also dissolved and then there is no thinking at all, right? Because when ahankar is there, then you...
Ahankar means aham vritti is there, that cannot be taken away, that's your swarup. What is dissolved is material, but what is spiritual, how can you dissolve that?
But even if you merge in a Brahman, it still remains that aham vritti.
Yeah. What will happen to it? If you are there, it is also there. Yeah, Atma, any conscious entity will have the sense of I, otherwise what is the meaning of calling it conscious? But simply sense of I means what? I has some sense when you is there. What is the meaning of I without you, tell me? The beauty of I depends on you.
So then they will not feel anything though, right? Basically there is no feeling for anything.
Feeling for what?
Feeling for ananda or anything. They don't experience anything.
Nothing. Just like when you are in the deep sleep, what do you experience? That's what moksha is. It's just like that. Only thing is from deep sleep you come out, from moksha you don't come out. You go in it, that's it. Finished. The drop falls into the ocean.
Babaji, the way you are explaining and the way all the Vaishnavas explain, I mean, the prayojan of moksha, if it were so abominable or if it was so, I mean, what should I say, worthless, so why do the Vedantis, they go for it? I mean, of course they are not fools.
Because they don't have Shraddha and Bhakti. There's nothing else available to them. Either you have the material world suffering here, or you get moksha, that's all. So they choose that. It's very simple.
And why they don't get Shraddha and Bhakti? Because of previous sanskaras.
Whatever may be the reason. How many people believe in Bhakti?
General people, like, they don't know scripture only, so they are not believing in bhakti is a
Yeah, so
separate
they are
thing.
just like we read it, Baba. This is what he was saying. Man maya mohit dhua purusha purushasva shreya vadanti anekantam yatha karma yatha ruchi. We just read it, verse number 9. It says, being under the influence of my maya, they do give all types of shreya vadanti anekantam, variety. Anekantam, he said, nana vidham. So this is the situation. They have interpretation of this Bhāgavatam also, according to Advaita Vedanta. There is only Brahman. Sarva Vedanta Saram Yat Brahmatmaikatva Lakshanam. Bhāgavatam is saying, in the end, Vastu Adityam Tannishtam Kaivalya Eka Prayojanam. What is the meaning of Kaivalya? Moksha. Vastu Advitiyam Tannishtam. It is rooted in that one Advitiya Vastu, and the word Brahman is used. Aham Brahma Param Dhama Paramam Brahmam. This is what last instruction of Sukdev to Parikshit. Ghata binne yatha akaso, akaso yatha pura. Says this. And who is speaking Bhagavatam? Sukdev Goswami. Brahmanist Acharya of the Brahmavadis. So don't think that only you know Bhagavatam.
Babaji, I'm sorry. What does it mean in this context, Brahmananda?
Which context?
That you are saying that there is nothing, no Ananda in Brahman, but we have a notion of Brahmananda, and we call people who follow the path of Brahman as Brahmanandi.
Yeah, it is only when you are talking here you can talk about it, but once you are in Brahman, who is there to talk about it? You try to have a concept of what it means to have moksha. We only talk, but also try to deliberate it, try to understand what exactly it is, Brahman realization. That's what I am trying to explain. When you go in deep sleep, what do you experience? You cannot say. There is nothing you can say. When you come out of it, you say, oh, I slept very nicely, I felt very happy. That is when you have come out of it. But when you are in deep sleep, can you say anything about it? So all this Brahmananda talk is now, when we are away, now when we don't have it. Once you have the guy who has Brahmananda, what does he know about it? Who knows? Because there is no mind, there is no senses, nothing. There is only sense of I. You identify that Brahman is Ananda, you become Ananda. So you want to eat Rasgulla or you want to become Rasgulla? Think of this. If you become Rasgulla, how much taste you will have of Rasgulla? Let's say chocolate, Rasgulla maybe not so great. So you have the best ice cream from Italy. So you want to eat the ice cream or you want to become the ice cream? So you will have the taste of ice cream when you are separate from ice cream or you become ice cream. When you become ice cream, how much taste of ice cream will you have? Nothing. You can say, I am ice cream. I am Brahmananda. But there's also somebody who is outside can say it. You cannot say that also. Once you become ice cream, you cannot say I am ice cream. So that's what moksha is. That's why it is says that Brahmananda bhavet chesa parardha gunikrita. That you multiply it million times, it cannot equate to one drop of bhakti. Now you understand what it means, because it's just nil. It's shunya. You multiply infinity with zero is infinity. Zero has this quality that it can turn infinity into zero. So that is the significance. Anuragini.
Babaji, Babaji, if we apply Sankhya philosophy here, that assuming that in moksha, ahankar stays.
Which ahankar?
The sense of I-ness, me.
So that is not called ahankar, because this ahankar is the word which is used, which is a product of Mahat Tattva, which comes from Prakriti, it is material. We use the word ahankara for that.
For that.
So that doesn't stay there.
Will that philosophy of Pangu Andhatva Sanyoga apply here?
No.
That they don't get the Purusha doesn't get the help of Prakriti, and Prakriti doesn't get the help of Purusha.
Yeah, this is only when you are here living in the conditioned state. Once you become free from Prakriti, then there is no more Andhapangu Nyaya.
Okay, so in moksha we are free from Prakriti.
Otherwise, where is the moksha if you are not free from Prakriti? Why you call it moksha then? Moksha means freedom from Prakriti only.
Okay. Dhanyavad Babaji.
Hari bharose.
Babaji, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you, Babaji. Most sweet verses. Diabetic people should have to be very careful. One clarification and one follow-up question. We see in the last 3 verses that there is a hierarchy that Krishna is sort of establishing, to the point that he firmly says, my Uttama Bhakta, my devotee's devotion is paramount to me. And then you also say that it's so paramount that I reciprocate with him to feel that same devotion, the nectar of that devotion. So are these two at the same level, the Bhakta's devotion to Krishna and Krishna's devotion for feeling that devotion towards the Bhakta? Are they at par, or is there some gradation between them as well?
No, he says, ye yathamam prapadyante tams tathai bhajamiham. The word bhajami is used. So now you can understand the meaning of the word bhajami. He says, I also do bhajan of my devotees as they do bhajan of mine.
Yeah.
So that's what he says.
Right.
And you
So,
can,
there's no sort of hierarchy being tried to establish here. It's just their mutual reciprocation.
yeah, I mean, he has ability to do that, so he does that.
And so then the follow-up for sadhakas who are sort of aspiring, with Krishna saying, I'm right behind, walking behind the footsteps of my devotee. So for devotees, aspiring devotees, is it not better to follow the devotees, or Uttama Bhaktas, rather than aim for Krishna?
And what is the difference? Can you follow a devotee without following Krishna?
No.
So it is
That was why the first question was clarification.
So that's how it works here. And Krishna himself says that one who says somebody is my devotee is not my devotee, who is a devotee of my devotee. That is my devotee. So this path of bhakti is very beautiful. That's why there is no ahankara here. The Advaita Vedantis give up their ahankara and then there is nothing left. And they cannot give it up also completely. Because how can you give up ahankara? To give up ahankara, you will need ahankara. After you have given up ahankara, then you will say, I gave up ahankara. So who is saying it? So ahankara cannot be given up except in bhakti, because here the ahankara is, I am a devotee of devotee. Das dasanudas. So that is the only way you can dissolve this ahankara. Dissolving means it stays, but it's not harmful anymore.
Yeah. Thank you, Babaji. Most beautiful description. Thank you very much.
So badhyamanopi madbhakto vishairajitendriyaha praya pragalbaya bhaktya vishairna vibhuyate. So now he is explaining the power of bhakti, how wonderful the bhakti is. It's nothing which compares to it. It's supremely powerful because it is Swarup Shakti of Bhagavan. So you can imagine its power. So he says not only those who have attained that kind of state, Niskinchana, Mayan, Rakta Chetasa, but even the person who is in the beginning stage cannot be overpowered by material desires. So he says, Badhyamanopi mad bhakto vishair ajitendriya, that if my devotee is ajitendriya, he does not have control over senses and he is obstructed by the sense objects. He says, even he will not be completely swallowed down by the Vishaya because of the power of my bhakti. So praya pragalbhya bhaktya, my bhakti which is pragalbha, means very potent. Vishaya na vibhuyate. These Vishayas are not going to completely consume my devotee. So this is the power of bhakti. This is what we should understand what bhakti is. It is not some ordinary thing. That there is no Vishaya which has the potency to consume a devotee. So Vishwanath Chakravarti writes very nice commentary on this verse. Simple but very nice. Apicha astan tavad utpanna bhava bhakta katha yatho bhaktau prathamam pravartamanopi bhakta kritartha evatyai. He says, leave alone the talk of people who have attained bhava bhakti, prem bhakti, they attained. I don't want to talk about them. But even the person who has just engaged, who is beginning in the bhakti, even he has attained perfection. Kritartha means he has also attained the right path. Badhyamaniti. Praya pragalbhya prayanaiva prabli bhavantya kimpune pragalbhya. So is bhakti which is not yet fully potent. What to speak when bhakti has become potent? So even he is not overpowered. So now he gives a very interesting contrast. So he says, now you compare devotee and Jnana Yogi. So if a Jnana Yogi has any flaw in him, he is criticized. When Bhakta has some defect in him, he is not, even his achar is not good, still Krishna says he is my Bhakta. So this is what he says. He says, Jnani prakarne yatha duracharo jnani nindisyate jnanitvam cha tasya nishidhyate. So he says that when Krishna will speak about the jnanis, then he will say that if a jnani is ill-behaved, durachari, then he will be criticized and he will be not called as jnani if he is having immoral behavior. Like yastva sanyat sadvarga prachandendriya sarathi jnana vairagya rahita stridandam upjivati sudanatmanatmastham nihnute mamcha dharmaha avivakya kasayo asmadamusmatcha vihiyate. So this is in 18th chapter, coming down the line. So he says that if a person who is following the Gyan Marg, but he is unable to control his senses, which are very powerful, he does not have proper knowledge or vairagya, but he is having a tridanda, means he is having a sannyas danda. So he says that he is dharmaha, he is a killer of dharma, and his heart is not clear, therefore he neither attains good here or in the next life. This is about Jnana Marga. Tatha tatra bhakta prakarne duracharo bhakto na nindyo bhaktam cha tasya na nisiddham. In case of when he is talking about the bhaktas, even if he has immoral behavior, he is still called a bhakta and he is not criticized. And that is what he is saying here. Badhyamaniti yaduktam apichet suduracharo bhajte mamananya bhag sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hisa. Famous verse from Bhagavad Gita, everybody knows this. Kinchatra vishair badhyamano api vishair na abhibhuyate iti ubhayatrapi vartaman nirdeshat vishaya badhyatva dasayam api vishaya badhyatvam bhakti siddhatva sadbhavat. So he says that here in these two words, vishair badhyamano api vishair na abhibhuyate, present tense is being used. Means when he is being attacked by the Vishaya, he is not overpowered by them. Both in the present tense. So he says that even in the state when the sense objects are troubling him, he is not troubled by them completely. Why? Because he has bhakti. So he says, Yatha vairikrita kinchit shastra ghatam praptasya api na parabhavishnuta saurya sadbhavat. He said, just like a person who is fighting in the battlefield, he may be hit by the weapon of an opponent, but he does not become overpowered by that because he has chivalry in him. यथावा पीत ज्वरघ्न महोस्दस्य तद्दिवसे आयातोपि ज्वरो बाधको अपि अबाधक एव तस्य विनश्यदवस्थत्वात् दिनांतरे च सम्यक् विनष्टि भावित्वाच्च. Or just like somebody who has fever, although he has fever but he takes Mahaushadhi, good medicine, and he has taken it. So although the fever is still there, but it does not completely overpower him because the effect of the medicine, and the medicine is going to counteract that fever. So even that particular day when he has the fever, he is not completely down, and next day he will come out of it. So these are the two examples he gives to show the power of bhakti. And then he continues to speak. We'll stop here. Any question? Okay.